What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Green Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Welch. Another awesome guest on the show today, world traveling entrepreneur Clint Bertucci. Clint and I met in Italy. We've traveled all over the world together. One of my closest friends, huge inspiration to me. Clint, thank you for being here and appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's kind of dive right into it. You've obviously traveled around the world, probably the most traveled person I think I've ever met. But what was that sort of initial first spark that got you into this traveling remote lifestyle?
Oh, it wasn't just one thing. I had little trips to Mexico, like little things, couple cruises, stuff like that. But the one big one for me was I studied abroad, but I wasn't in college. I was a little older and I had went back to college and I studied abroad in Florence, Italy. And Bertucci, I have an Italian heritage, so that was very interesting and something that I always wanted to do. So I ended up studying abroad, Florence, Italy, for both summer sessions. So I was there for a couple months. And not only was Florence amazing, but there was a lot of things going on in my life. So it was just extremely meaningful to me. And there was a lot of changes that were made, from that trip, just all those experiences. And what we would do instead of just staying in Florence the whole time, we would have classes, I don't know, let's say Monday to Thursday. And then on Thursday, we would run right out of class to the train station or the airport, whatever, and go to a bunch of different countries. So it wasn't just one place. It was Florence, but then we were going to a lot of different countries from there. I think that's kind of how we met. We did the, what was it?
Amalfi Coast together.
Yeah. But what was the company? It was, I know
Euro,
it. I just can't.
Euro Adventures.
Euro Adventures. I was thinking of the other ones and I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Euro Adventures trips. And yeah, it was very impactful, all of those trips. Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned something interesting, which was like you had a lot going on in your life and you traveled remotely. And I think a lot of people, kind of make an excuse of not to travel, of not to venture out of their comfort zone, whether it's, they're too busy with work, family, finances, whatever. But what I've found, and I'm sure you have found too, is that honestly, when you take a moment to sort of escape from those day-to-day smaller problems, it allows you to kind of get a bigger perspective on life and ultimately ends up, solving those problems. Yeah, it's a little bit of a financial investment, a couple of grand to go somewhere new, but to pull yourself out of this little bubble, this world you live in and go and experience something so different as Italy, where the language is different, the culture is different, there's history, the architecture is different, everything about your life is different, kind of puts things into perspective. Maybe those problems that you had weren't, that big of a deal, or maybe you needed some outside inspiration for that next idea or direction of where you wanted to go. So I think that's really interesting. I'm glad you were able to find that while you were abroad. How did you then sort of transition it into, not just studying abroad for the experience, but ultimately a business and, this lifestyle that you lived for 10 plus years?
So while I was over there, I had just left my career, just completely shut the door on it, which was home financing, the real estate industry, things like that. And then when I went over there and just did that traveling, and just like you said, it just opens up a whole new world. And to elaborate on that, you're right. I completely agree with what you just said. But also, all that hard work, people, they deserve it. They deserve that for themselves. So, but when I was over there, it just opened up all these new doors and just gave me a completely different perspective on life that I really needed at that time. And it changed so many things for me that, I genuinely at that time, I was so excited and so happy for the way I was seeing life and the changes that I was making. And I genuinely wanted to bring that to other people because I know a lot of Americans are like that. They're tied up in that day to day. And I was just very excited to bring that back and try to give that to people and share that with people and get them out there and show them the world. And yeah, I have a big thing that I think any trip you go on, you return a different and a better person. So yeah, that's how it happened for me.
Yeah, no, you've been I mean, you've done some of the coolest things. I almost like forget some of the coolest stuff you've done. You just like motorcycled through Thailand by yourself. You went on this whole crazy deep dive of your family history in Italy. What are some of the most impactful trips that you've ever been on in your life?
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually rated them one through three, and the top three were that first time in Italy because it just broke the mold and it opened the door to everything. Number two was what was number two? Number two, I was the Vietnam trip. It was Vietnam, not Thailand. And I
Hmm.
did. I went over to Vietnam and I bought a little motorcycle, rented a motorcycle, and I went from Da Nang to Hanoi, which is half the country. I forget how many days, maybe 10 days by myself. I think it was around 800 miles. And it was, I mean, that was truly incredible. It was amazing. And then no, that was number three. And number two was exactly what you said, the family heritage search. I lost my family, my father at a young age, and I've always been interested in that part of my life. And I went over there with literally nothing to go on. I had maybe a couple names, and I started all the way in Salerno, and I was over there for over a month, and I went all the way from Salerno, from town to village, and made it all the way up past La Spezia, which is Cinque Terre, and I ended up finding the village, Pontremoli, where my great grandparents lived, and I got to go inside the Bertucci house. The village was a population of 55. I ended up running into this guy and I show him all the family history that I was working because I was building it, the family tree on my phone. And I showed him, sat down with me, we had lunch over in this beautiful setting in the back, and he ends up looking through all his stuff, looking through all mine, and he's like, you're my cousin. He's like, so it ends up that guy was my distant cousin, and he shows me all the stuff. I verified it, and he knew the people that bought the Bertucci house, so he got me in there, and I actually got to go inside the house. That was incredible.
Wow, that's wild. That's awesome,
Yeah,
man. So cool.
rewarding.
I love how you kind of mix up like group travel, solo travel, traveling with like a friend here and there. That's really cool too to be able to do all those different things. So, real quick, we're gonna hit you with the rapid fire question round. Are you ready?
All right, I am.
All right.
I think
Gonna be short, quick questions, just first thing that comes to your mind. Nothing too crazy. Don't worry, I won't put you on the spot.
it's
Ready?
all
Let me
right.
know when you're ready to go.
Let's go.
All right, question number one. Country with the best food.
Italy.
Country with the most attractive people.
Give me a second here.
Let's go.
I
Three,
mean Italy.
two, Italy.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the most overrated tourist attraction?
I don't think there's any because I think everything has its own benefit, the way you look at it. So yeah, you won't hear me say anything negative about anything because
Okay.
it's
All right.
they all
Good
have their
answer. What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
a tarantula in Thailand.
Yeah. I was gonna say scorpion with you in Thailand.
Yeah, that was so it tasted like burnt chicken.
What country would you say has the friendliest locals?
I'm gonna tell you right now, Vietnam. But in the little towns and villages, not the main hubs, not Hanoi, but I mean, it was unbelievable. And I know it's a speed round, so but I'm gonna say, even when you give them money, if you give them the wrong money, they're like, no, no, no. It's actually unbelievable.
Okay. What is the furthest place you've ever been off the grid?
Jordan in the desert.
Wow. All right. Little change of pace from travel. What is the most impactful book you've ever read?
Um, Peel. What is that? I've sent this to you. Dr. Peel, I forget. I can't think of the name of it, but
What sticks out in your mind as being so impactful?
just because it's basically about positive thinking, and it's also I don't want to say it's religious, but it has some points, but it's not a definitive religion. It's a number of different religions, just having faith and things like that, and just keeping a positive outlook and mindset. and I live my life by that. And yeah, it's something to live by. I'll think of the title here in a second.
Okay.
Long
What
time.
what's one piece of advice you have for travelers to stay healthy while they're moving around?
I'll be honest. I mean, don't worry about it. Who cares? If you're an American and you're outside the country and you're eating country food from another country, right there, you're already healthier. That's the truth. And you're walking so much, I wouldn't put a lot of thought in it. And if you want to throw some push-ups or stretch or sit-ups, that's cool, but enjoy it, man. Don't worry about that.
So
Have a good
just
time.
being active, being eating healthy,
Yes.
do a little movement here and there.
100%. I mean, you're out there walking, you're doing so much, you're getting so many steps a day. It's going to cover it.
All right, last question. A little bit longer than rapid fire round, but you're a business owner. You've got multiple different businesses. You've got Travr, you've got your tour group company in Tampa. What's one piece of advice, over the past 10 or so years that you've been an entrepreneur that you would share with a fellow business owner?
Yeah. The biggest thing is not self-sabotaging and thinking you need more than you need. You see a lot of these people, they're like, "Oh, I need this capital and I need this." Shut up, man. Just start the process. I don't care if it's just you. If you're taking two people on a tour or just start it. You don't need as much as you think you need. So many people do that, and I think it's almost a fear that they're going to fail. So they kind of set the limit up here. But the truth is, you can get started, especially nowadays. I mean, Chat GPT, you can do your own videos, you can do with social media, you can get started out of your house with almost any business that you can think of. So just start and continue to improve on a daily basis. And I guarantee you can reach success very, very easily.
So just take those first steps to get it going.
100%. Take a piece of paper out, pencil, notebook, whatever you want to do, and mark 1 to 10 and write down what you need. Okay, I need a name, I need a logo, I need a website, I need this, and start working on them and cross them out. And by crossing those out, when you get to number 5, number 6, you're going to start feeling good, you're going to see the light, and then you make another 10. And you just keep going and it's gradually going to come. Just don't stop.
I love that. Yeah, the power of making a list and checking those things
100%.
off. Super
Yep.
impactful. Clint, what trips do you have coming up in the near future?
So I leave May 24th, and I go to Italy. I'm gonna go with my brother, my dad, and my brother's wife. So we're gonna go to Florence, Rome, and Amalfi, and then after that, I don't know. I'll probably be out for at least a month, maybe two, and just bouncing around. Who knows where?
What is final question here? What would you say has been the craziest experience you've ever had abroad, whatever that means to you? That could be
Craziest.
meeting a new person that, crossing paths with someone you met in Thailand in, another continent, or a crazy dangerous experience, or, some wisdom that you came across. What sticks out in your mind as like, that was amazing?
I mean, I hate to repeat anything, but that family heritage search in Italy, it was so incredible and so rewarding. And I just felt like things were happening that I mean, there were times where I'm like, how in the hell did that just happen? Like, I get to a city that I'm supposed to be finding some information, about a past relative, and there's nothing. And then I run into some girl at a cafe that just starts talking to me for no reason, and she has an uncle in the Comuna and she gets me an appointment in there to where they would never get you in the Comuna. And we go in the Comuna where they have the history of the families and whatnot. And that led me to what I needed, the information that I needed for the next step. But I was just like, how in the hell is all this coming together? It was surreal.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, it was very rewarding.
I feel like that used to be a much more popular thing to do, kind of like search out, where your relatives came from, where your history is, and it's not so much a thing anymore. just
Yeah.
with like the internet and maybe the knowledge that we have that gets passed down in the past 50 or so years, it's maybe a little bit more accessible. So
Yeah.
it's really cool that you were able to do that, and it's really cool to still hear that people want to help you find those things.
Yeah.
So that is an awesome experience. Clint, thank you so much for joining me today. Always love chatting with you. Always love hearing your travel stories. If you're interested in connecting with Clint, check out Travr.life. He's got some awesome trips coming up. Follow him on Instagram. I follow you and I get jealous every time we're on some crazy trip, and it's an inspiration for me to be like, I want to go do something. And then I text you, we try to plan something. Sometimes they come together, sometimes they don't.
I'm hoping to see you out there in June. Oh, real quick, Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. That's the book.
Okay. Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking. All right. Well, hey, Clint, appreciate you joining today. Have fun in Italy. And to everyone who tuned in, who watched, who listened, appreciate you supporting the show. See you on the next episode of the Green Podcast.